Good morning or afternoon or whatever time you're watching the video. My name is Jen Russell. I'm one of the occupational therapists here at Catholic Medical Center, and I would like to talk with you today about the role of occupational therapy in assisting people with pulmonary issues with specific regard to energy conservation and work simplification techniques. Three things really come to mind when we think about energy conservation, and the first one being kind of prioritizing what you're doing each day. Take a look at your day, activities that are important to you or things that need to get done in a day, and knowing kind of where you're at in terms of how you're feeling each day will be helpful in terms of prioritizing these activities. So you may want to think about, you have a doctor's appointment, let's just say, and you know that getting out into the vehicle, getting yourself to the appointment, having the appointment and returning home is going to take some time and some energy. So if you think about other activities that you need to complete each day, vacuuming the house, things like that, you may not want to do those on a day where you have such a big activity such as getting out of the house for the appointment. So sort of prioritizing your things that you need to get done or things that you want to get done. The second one would be pacing yourself. This is probably not a new word to any of you watching this video, but you need to, again, be in tune enough with your body to know how much energy you have at any one given time, what the activity is that you're performing, and how much energy it may take, and sort of pace yourself. Give yourself time to rest in between. Use breathing techniques, that pursed lip breathing, so it's in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you're doing activities, if you find that you're starting to fatigue, knowing enough to stop, focus on the breathing, get your breathing back under control, and continue the activity as you're able. Sometimes you have to think about not being able to complete an activity if it's going to, if you're having a particularly difficult day, or if it's just going to take too much time or too much of your energy, and kind of being okay with that. I know that's a struggle for a lot of folks, is to just kind of know that things have to be done maybe in a slightly different way, and maybe I can start an activity but I can't complete it. And for a lot of people that's not an easy thing to accept, but it's an important thing to accept in order to make the most of your day. Planning activities that you now have decided that you want to do in your day, trying to figure out where to place it in your day that you will be able to benefit the most. Giving yourself enough time, making sure you're at a time of day when you have the most energy to do it. So planning it out. Some people actually write out a schedule. It can be a daily schedule, it can be a weekly schedule, if that's helpful to have it in writing. The other important part about that is some people have an easier time being able to then check off an activity as it's completed, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment. Because we know for a lot of folks, when they're limited with their breathing, it limits their activities, and then they kind of get down feeling like, well, I'm not really able to do much. So this is just sort of a visual way for you to see how much you are able to complete. Sitting for any activity, you will consume less of your energy than standing. So seats for the shower, sitting in the kitchen at the table to, say, prepare a salad and cut up the vegetables is going to be better for you than trying to stand for an extended period of time at the kitchen counter, let's just say. So really thinking about doing what you can seated versus standing, you'll find that you'll consume less of your energy that way to then maybe be able to do some additional things in your day. Incorporating rest breaks, we talked about that a minute ago. Very important to do that. Do a little bit of activity, take a rest, incorporate the breathing if it's necessary. Making sure that you're being able to ask for help for different things throughout your day that maybe you were once able to do without any assistance. Maybe it's just a little too taxing for you at this point, and just kind of getting to the point where you feel comfortable asking others around you for assistance as you need it. Carrying grocery bags in from the car after grocery shopping is a big one for folks. It's just, especially if you have stairs. Thinking about weights of things that you're having to carry. Carrying things closer to your body versus, multiple bags on an arm, that kind of thing is going to is going to help you be able to do the activity a little bit easier. Avoiding overhead motions and sustained overhead motions is going to be helpful. So trying to keep everything that you're working on for your activity kind of within a nice easy reach. Avoid the bending and avoid the overhead reaching. And again, if some of the activities require you to do some of that, we do have some extended handled equipment, if you will. We call it adaptive equipment that can allow you to reach for things without having to bend, or to reach for things that might be higher up as long as it's not too heavy. Again, watching weights of things that you're carrying and having to pick up or lift or move. A lot of people ask about vacuuming. Vacuuming is one thing now. There's so many different vacuums out there, and so many different styles and weights, and they make some really nice lightweight vacuums. And again, if you're in a seated position in your living room, you can sit on the couch and kind of, use the vacuum from a seated position, and then you can change where you're seated in the room. You can go across the room to maybe a chair that might be on the other side and continue the vacuuming. Again, you're seated, so you're conserving energy, and it also gives you a place to rest if you needed that rest break. Seats for the shower. We'll talk about that. They make a variety of these types of seats for the shower. The nice thing about these is that most all of them are adjustable in height. So I generally tell people before they put it into the shower, have it sit in the bathroom, sit down on it, see what's a comfortable height for you. Make some adjustments as you need it, and then go ahead and put it into the tub to take your shower. The seats themselves, this is one of the easier ones I find. It's the push button adjustable heights. So much like a walker or a cane where you can just sort of slide it up and down. It has the nice rubber feet on the bottom for non-slip when it's placed into the shower. And it's got the holes on the top so the water can go through. Handles on either side in case you need it for balance. So that gets placed into the shower, and it gives you a way to sit to take your shower. They do make a variety of these types of seats, some of them with a back on it, some of them without, different weight capacities. So just make sure that if you are purchasing one of these for home, that you're getting the one that's going to support the appropriate weight. And if you have any issues, a lot of them can be ordered online, and will give you, under the specifications of the seat, it will give you weight capacities and widths and diameters and things like that, so that you'll know that it will fit into your particular either shower or tub. Long-handled sponge for when you're showering. In the shower, I typically tell people to use a liquid soap versus a bar soap. If you were to drop the soap, it would be difficult for you to chase it around the floor of the tub. So the idea is you get the sponge wet, you put a little bit of liquid soap on it, and then you're able to, again, either seated or standing, do the legs, your feet, your back, without having to bend and exert more energy. Once you're done washing, rinse the sponge out, squeeze the water out as best that you can. Take your towel and kind of drape it over the top of it, and then twist the handle. So now if you can imagine, this is covered in a towel. So you have the same extension of your reach, but now you have the towel that you can rub against your skin to dry off. So again, avoiding that bending and keeping the breathing better controlled. So that's the sponge. While we're on the topic of showering, thinking about ventilation in your bathroom and making sure that you either have the fan on, a window cracked open, because again, with the heat from the warm water, the steam produces steam, that can have an impact on your breathing as well. So just making sure you're well ventilated. The handheld shower hoses that you can purchase, most people just have a fixed shower head on the wall in their shower. The nice thing about when you have a seat, the nice thing about having a handheld shower is it's a long hose with the shower head that you can hold in your hand. That way you can control where the water is going. It's not splashing in your face, which may impact your breathing. You can just kind of let it dangle in the tub as you're washing, and then you can kind of grab it and pick it up and use it as you need to Once you're finished your shower, drying off, I usually recommend people, if they have a seat, to just sit on it. Grab your towel from outside the shower, dry off as much as you can just while you're sitting there. That way, if you're feeling like you need a little bit more time, you're in a safe spot and you're not, slipping, trying to rush to get out of the tub. Some people like to get dressed in the bathroom. Some people prefer to go back to the bedroom, sit on the edge of the bed or a chair. Either place is fine. Seated is just the best, again, in terms of energy conservation. Speaking of getting dressed, we have this wonderful adaptive equipment. One of the things that I like the most, and I think every household should have, is a reacher. So this is just one example of a reacher. There are many different styles out there. The reacher is a handy tool to have wherever you are in your home or outside of your home. And this one comes with a feature, this little clip, this yellow clip on here, which can actually attach to the leg or the shaft of a walker or a cane. So that way, you're able to take this very handy tool with you from room to room or wherever you may go. The way this is used, pull the trigger and it closes the end, just like a claw, okay? It's rubberized here and here to give some grip on it. It's a nice lightweight tool. It's very easy to carry with you. And there's a magnet on the very tip of it. So I say for a lot of people, if you wear an earring and you drop that backing to the earring, to bend over and try to pick that up might be a little difficult and take a lot of your energy. If you had this, you just kind of put it on top and it would grab the earring itself and you pull it off. Again, it's a small magnet, so it's not going to pick up much, but for some of those smaller things, it's very handy. So the next tool I'd like to go over is what we call a dress ease. So, like its name, it makes it easier for you to dress yourself. Again, the key to all of this equipment is an extension of your reach. So this has a long padded handle with a couple of hooks on one end and a shoehorn on the other. So the way this works is, again, you're seated. If you were to kick your shoe off and you wanted to say, take your sock off, you take the smaller hook and you hook it right into your sock, and then you just push your sock right off your foot. Okay, pull it all the way off. Then I would go back to my trusty reacher to pick this up. The next thing we're going to talk about is the sock aid. This is one of my favorite pieces of equipment. It's a piece of molded plastic with a couple of strings. And again, this comes in a variety of different styles. But here's how you put your socks on without having to bend. You take your sock and orient it just as if you were going to put it on your foot. You're going to open it up and slide it right onto here so that the toe is flush with the top. And then you put it right on the floor, hold the two strings, place your foot in there, and give it a pull. And voila. Some people are able to use this device to manage their compression stockings. There's a little trick that you can use if you take a plastic bag and put that on your foot and then put your stocking onto here. As you pull it on, it'll slide a little bit easier over your foot, and then you can use your reacher to pull the bag out from the other end once the stocking's in place. It's a little bit tricky, takes a little bit of practice, but you might want to give it a try. Now that we have our sock on, we'll come back to this device with the long handle again with the shoehorn. So you would put your foot in, and a lot of times people have to come down with their hand to get their heel in. Instead, you would use this. So you get this in behind your heel, and you're able to slide your foot right into your shoe. So for folks that tend to wear a tie shoe, slip-on shoes are generally easier because you're able to just easily use your shoehorn to slip in and to kick your shoe off. But for people that prefer a tie shoe, tying your shoes either requires you to bring your foot up to be able to tie or bending forward to be able to tie. Obviously the bending forward, not advised. And some people have a hard time for flexibility or to maintain their foot up there for the period of time it would take you to tie your shoes. Difficult. So we have what we call elastic shoelaces. So it looks like a normal shoelace. I'll show you the white one first. They come in white and black. Looks like a normal shoelace, but if I pull it, it's like a rubber band. The idea behind the elastic shoelace is you replace your existing shoelace with the elastic one, and then you tie it on your foot to what feels comfortable to you. Once it's tied in your shoe, you can leave it tied. Because it stretches, when you go to remove your shoe by kicking it off, it will stretch and allow you to pull your foot out. And when you go to put your foot into your shoe, again with the shoe horn, when you go to push it in, it stretches to allow your foot to go into the shoe, into place. And then once your foot's in place, it tightens back up. So you always have a secure shoe on your foot. So again, options are a slip-on type shoe is maybe a little bit easier because you're not having to deal with any extra steps. But if you do prefer to wear a tie shoe, this is a great option. So to wrap up for today, I hope you found this helpful and I thank you for watching the video. This is just a little bit of what's available out there for people to make their lives a little bit easier. These items can be easily purchased Amazon if you have access to a computer. Any of the local pharmacy stores often have a lot of this equipment in them as well. And you can certainly refer to the Pulmonary Rehab Education Department for any further suggestions on where you might be able to purchase them. So thank you very much.